video, I'm going to tell you the 7 interview tips that help you ace your interview and get you the job that you want. And we're starting right now. What is going on? My name is Jung Ho and welcome back to another video. And if this is your first time here and you want to learn more about personal finance, self-improvement, and other strategies and tips to improve your life, just like this video, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. I'm going to lay out the 7 interview tips that's going to up your game and help you get you the job that you want. And make sure you watch until the end because there could be that one tip that's going to bring you to the promised land. Hallelujah. And because you clicked on this video, I'm going to give you that one bonus tip that's not related to interviews, but related to job search. And that is the mindset. When it comes to mindset, you want to make sure that you understand that this may take weeks or months. So you will definitely want to be mentally prepared over the long run because this is not a sprint. This is not something that you just want to blast through. You want to make sure you're steady and make sure you're improving each time you're interviewing. The first tip is for you to actually research whom you're meeting with, as well as their name, their title, and what their responsibilities are. And this accomplishes 2 things. One is that you understand whom you're meeting with. And using that name, you want to go into LinkedIn, understand what are some connections that you might have with them. Maybe you went to the same school, same major, or grew up in a similar neighborhood, maybe 20 minutes out. You want to understand where they came from, and you want to try to make sure you bring that up somehow in their interview without being very direct. And the second thing that you accomplish is you understand what they're trying to do. If you're meeting with an HR recruiter, they just want to understand whether you hit the minimum standard just for you to move on to the next one. Are you qualified? But once you move into the team and you're meeting with a manager, they want to understand not only can you do your job, but do they like you? I think when it comes to HR recruiters, they don't really mind if they like you or don't like you. They just want to look to see, do you check all the boxes that are necessary to perform the job? And this tip really helped me out, I believe. And I think this gave me an edge to understand what this interview is trying to accomplish. Number 2 is getting all of the basics down. This is trying to figure out where the location of this, where you're meeting, making sure you're there on time, make sure you're dressed to impress. These are all things that you could do and still not get to the next round. But if you're not doing any of these, or possibly missing out on one of them, then you hurt the chance of actually going on to the next round. And especially these days when a lot of things are virtual, you want to make sure your webcam is ready, your internet connection is good, and you understand what platform are they using to actually interview. And that could range from Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Skype, and other ways to actually interview. But you want to make sure you get the platform right, and if there's any passwords or necessary things to know going into it, that you are ready for it. Let's say you are finding out that there's a password literally a minute before the interview, then you get flustered and you're not mentally ready to do well in the interview. Number 3 is to actually be very specific in what you've done in your previous job. Don't make them question you and don't be too vague. When interviewers see that you're being very vague and being very high level in terms of what you've done, then they might actually question, can this person actually do the job? And you don't want to get to the point where they feel like they're questioning you. You want to come out right off the bat giving them examples of what you've done and exactly what it accomplished. Number 4 is make sure that you don't come out too humble. This is a time where you have to show off your skills and your experiences, and you want to make sure you sell yourself in the best light possible. You don't want to be too negative on yourself and feel like you might not be able to do the job well. Believe in yourself and know that you could do it. And even if you don't believe you've done a lot, just go through a list of things that you have accomplished in your current job and what kind of impact did it have? Did it save some time? Did it save money? And so that this potential interviewer who will be your colleague or your manager understands what kind of impact you have on the team. Number 5, and this is actually one of my favorite tips. So when people say, preparation is key to anything. And so you ask yourself, how can you prepare for an interview when you don't even know the questions that they might ask you? Have you ever had a professor or a teacher who actually gave you a list of questions that potentially might come out in the exam? And this helped you to mentally prepare what to expect and what kind of questions they might ask you. And how you figure out what kind of questions they might ask you is actually to look at their job description. Look at what they're looking for, especially the job description as well as the qualification. Those are two different things that usually differ, but basically the responsibility is the responsibility of the job and what you'll actually be performing on the job, while qualification is the minimum standard they need for someone to actually come into the interview and actually be able to perform the job itself. And when you go down the list in that job description, you'll actually understand what kind of qualification and qualities they're looking for. So I will give an example in this case where I'm looking at LinkedIn right now, and one of the responsibility is partner with cross-functional stakeholders to ensure alignment and progress towards key deliverables within a project timeline and budget. In this case, they're saying a lot, but what they're looking for is project management, and a project management includes looking at budgets, timelines, and working with key stakeholders. And this is just an example, but there will be other job descriptions where it will tell you exactly what they're looking for, teamwork or analysis. So using this tip, prior to the interview itself, go through the job description and see exactly one or two words in terms of what qualities they're looking for in each of the line. And then from there, they'll ask you an exact question regarding that. And the interviewer themselves will most likely have a list of their own that's very similar to the qualities that you just came up with. And using that, for example, for teamwork, they'll ask you, tell me about a time when you worked in a team setting. Or in terms of clients, have you worked in a client setting? And how have you dealt with a difficult client? And you want to be prepared for these answers, being very specific and what kind of impact you came up with using that. And I think for me, that was a big learning curve for me, where that actually brought me up to the next level for me to be ready for those type of questions. Number 6 is another favorite of mine, where I actually try to use it every interview that I can. And it's actually a question at the end of an interview. And that question is, based on my resume, past experiences, and interview today, do you have any doubts or hesitations about my qualification or my ability to succeed on this job? And there are precisely 2 reasons to ask this question. Reason number 1 is to clear any type of miscommunication or misjudgment that they might have that might not necessarily be true. And one assumption could be that you actually live too far away. Are you willing to make that commute every day? But if they don't ask you that question, and they might be worried about that, then you might not be in the list of potential hires they might have. Reason number 2 is based on the answer that they give me, I'll be able to determine whether or not I've gone on to the next round. Because one of the answers they could give is, hey, we really like you, we like your qualities, we know that you could bring a lot to the table. So no, I don't have any hesitations. And I think this kind of sets a good tone. And another answer they could give you is, hey, I actually have to talk to my team about this, and we are going to a list of people who are still interviewing, and so we'll be in touch about that. And if they're a little bit hesitant or kind of hitting around the bush and not being very direct, saying, hey, we really like you, we have no doubts, then this will tell you to kind of keep your expectations low, because there may be a few things that they didn't like or they may not see as a match. And that's totally fine. In terms of when you set your expectations, you want to set it right. And you don't want to come out of an interview thinking that you killed it when they actually have some hesitation on this.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
And this one simple questions could help you to set your expectations correctly and to clear any kind of assumptions or misunderstandings that the interviewer has. Now the last and 7th tip is take notes during the interview so that you could actually send a thank you email at the end. This is a basic etiquette that maybe a lot of people don't do, but this will set you apart from the rest. And sure, the interviewer may not respond to you or may respond to you in a couple of days, and that is totally normal. I probably got a response to maybe 10 to 20% of my emails that I do send out. And so it is quite normal for them not to respond, but that does not mean they don't read it. So let's say, for example, you are competing with one other person at the end of the last round. And let's say your interviewers come together and think that you guys are pretty similar in terms of the qualifications and what you're able to bring to the table. This thank you email could bring you over to the edge and help you give that advantage when everything's normal and they say, hey, actually this person sent an email to me while this other person did not. I think this person prepares often and actually listen because they list out the things that we talked about and what I'm most excited about as an interviewer.
Now, as we wrap up this video, I just wanted to highlight this comment of the day saying this. It's a very good encouragement for me as well as a helpful tip on how I could create better videos. And I absolutely love this comment. I also recently improved my audio and lighting equipment since my last week's video, so hopefully this video is better in quality. I appreciate all of your feedbacks in the comment section, so please engage with me on how I can make better videos as a content creator.
The question of the day for this video is, what is that one tip that you didn't know about before that you found the most helpful? Leave it in the comments below just so that I could see your answers to see what helped you the most. If you enjoyed this video, remember to smash that like button because this will help me to understand what kind of content you're looking for to bring your interview skills to the next level. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss anything in the future. Besides that, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.